Mid-morning with me, Rob Underwood. Good morning to you. Now, my next guest is testament to the fact that nothing should stand in the way of achieving your goals. Stefan Novak from Cherry Willingham has always been visually impaired, but that didn't get in the way of a career with one of the most prestigious banks in the world, or from travelling all over the world, or from meeting his wife in an extraordinary way. Well, these days, Stefan focuses his attentions on doing all he can to raise awareness about guide dogs, and I'm delighted to say he joins me in the studio. Morning, Stefan.
Good morning.
Wow, you just had some BBC coffee. How?
It's BBC tea. It's fantastic.
Oh, some say they can't tell the difference, but no, we'd like to do it. We'd like to do it okay here. Good morning. It's great to have you in the studio.
Thank you.
And also, we've got somebody else.
We've got my guide dog, Grant.
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 And he's a big, black, long-haired German Shepherd.
And he's been walking around here, and he is a big dog. And I said that if I had a dog, that would be the dog that I would want. He is absolutely gorgeous. He really is, and I'm sure temperament-wise he is as well. Tell us a bit about your story.
Well, basically, I'm 52. I'm registered blind. I've just had, last November, I had a kidney transplant because we found out about 15 years ago. I'd just run the London Marathon with my wife, and just after that we found out I'd got kidney failure, and they said one day you'll have to have a transplant. And I thought, yeah. And also you'll have to go on dialysis. And I just thought, yeah, that's years away. And of course it did come. And unfortunately it came the same month, same year as my wife was told she'd got bowel cancer. So that was a bit of a blow. So I was in one hospital and Lynn was in another. And whoever got home first put the kettle on and started the dinner. So that was how we survived. And I've had two guide dogs. Thomas, who I got in 1998 and lost him from cancer in 2005. Didn't want another one, but because my wife was quite poorly by then and she was worried about me. And we weighed up the pros and cons, and of course I applied for another one, and I wanted a black and tan like Thomas. And they said, well, we've got one German Shepherd coming through, because I only want German Shepherds because I'm 6'2", and I like German Shepherds' temperaments. And they said, we've got one coming through, and he's big, he's black, he's hairy, but he's long haired. And I was just thinking, whoa, what's Lynn going to say about her cream carpets? And I thought, she's going to love him. We're going to love him. What's his name? They said, we can't tell you. I said, well, I'll do your deal. You tell me his name and I'll take him. And of course, they broke a few rules because they shouldn't have told me things, but they knew Lynn's situation and my situation. And I just sort of thought, I said, give me 2 minutes. And I said, yeah, I'll take him. And of course, it's not as simple as that. You just don't take him. You have to match and everything. But
But he's great. Look, listen, you mentioned a few minutes ago, you said that it was a bit of a blow when you found out, I think they were your words, your health problems and your wife's. To many people, that would have been more than a bit of a blow, Stefan.
Yeah. Well, it was.
How did you feel?
It was, but I think I was more concerned. I was never bothered about me. I was more concerned about losing the love of my life. And you can probably hear the change in my voice already. And even today, it's even hard. It was a blow, yeah. I mean, she was an incredible, brave, strong character that always used to say, if the big guy up there takes me tomorrow, she always used to say, I've had an incredible life. And she always used to say that from when I met her in her 40s.
Tell us how you met her, because that's an interesting story.
Well, how we met was one day I wanted to be a yuppie, and I lived in Docklands, and I got home late one night, put the TV on, couldn't see very well in those days, nothing like I am now, but still couldn't see very well. Put the TV on, and there was a programme in London on Thames TV in those days called Contacts, just after Prisoner Cell Block H. And I turned the TV on, and there was this interviewing going on. I thought, oh yeah, and they were interviewing a young girl, and it was like a dating thing, not like Blind Date, but a little bit like Blind Date, but not exactly. And I thought, oh, she's nice. And I thought, no. And then I watched it the next week, and I thought, no. And then I had this brainwave, and I thought, well, write in yourself, okay. I had a big thing about being visually impaired and worthless, and who was going to want me and whatever. And then it all of a sudden turned, and I thought, yeah, I've got a lot to give. I've got a lot of love to give, because my previous relationship, she gave me my ring back and ran off with somebody else. So that knocked my confidence. But I rang in, about 2 a.m. and they rang me back that night and said, could I go in for an interview? And this was at Euston. and in London, and I went in for a 5-hour interview. They said, could you come on set at short notice? So the following day at work, they rang me and said, we need you in. Got in and did the shoot. The following night it went out on air. Then the letters come in, and then the first 7 letters, Lynn's was in one of them, and I had like we all had pigeonholes. And of course I couldn't see to read them myself, so that was like torture, and I didn't want to ask anyone at work, so I met my best friend, and we sort of went through them. Of course, by then 13 letters had come, and 43 in total by the end of it, and I narrowed it down to 7. But the weird thing was, Rob, that I picked out the smallest envelopes with a 17p stamp on, which I obviously knew by the colour, and it was odd notepaper. And I just thought, this is the one. And I kept this one out. And when Helen, my friend, went through them, I said, read this one first, Helen. And of course she said, no, we'll do it. I said, read this one first. And of course she read it, and she said to me, oh, well, we might have known. And I said, what? She said, she's an air hostess at Gatwick. She said, you knew? I said, I did. How could I know? And the other weird thing was that Lynn had got home from a squash match that night, and she just had she thought, I'll have a cup of tea, watch a bit of TV, and I'm going to bed. And she saw me, and she looked into my eyes apparently on the TV, and she thought, oh, he seems a nice chap. And I sort of telling people about me. And she went to work the next day and told her best friend Val that she'd just met the man on TV that she was going to marry.
Wow.
And
it was worth staying up late for that.
Yeah.
We're going to pause there. You are the easiest person I think I've ever had to interview in my life, and I'm looking forward to carrying on with that in just a moment or two. Yes, this morning is Stefan Novak. Stefan from Cherry Willingham, always visually impaired, but really it hasn't got in the way of you enjoying a very full and rich life, has it?
No, hopefully not.
We talked about a wonderful story about the way you met your wife. Lincolnshire lad as well, aren't you?
Yes.
Lincolnshire lad. And
left for 30 years and come back.
To seek your fortune.
I don't know about that.
And it drew you back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I came back purely and simply because I needed a transplant, and there was no one to look after my guide dog down south that was suitable. So property was cheaper here, more for your money, and I needed a nice big bungalow. And my sister said, well, if you come back, I'll look after Grant. And I'm thinking, that's an offer you can't refuse. So basically, I moved lock, stock and barrel. And I don't know how I did it. It was horrendous. And I moved last June, and then the phone call came one Sunday night, 11 o'clock, block call. This is Leicester General. We have a kidney for you. Get to Leicester as soon as you can. So I've had my kidney. Well, it'll be a year in November.
Yeah.
And of course my sister had Grant, and that was my main concern there again, not thinking about myself, but Grant, he was my main worry.
Tell me about some of your working life as well. I was looking at your CV. Nothing stopped you getting a top job?
Nothing amazing, I don't think, really, but I worked in retail in Lincoln for 7 years, which the place will remain nameless, and then I wanted to better myself, and I wanted to leave home and do something more, and I basically went to a commercial college for the blind in Notting Hill, of all places, and we were always out and about late at night and didn't think about it really. Did my college course, and I applied for jobs, and we were all in the same boat, and usually the RNIB help you, but I went out on my own and looked for jobs and whatever. Anyway, I found the one best of the lot, and of course I was trained to be a secretary because I was taught to type at school. I was the first kid that had a typing teacher because I was blind and couldn't write and stuff, so it stood me in good stead for a job. And anyway, I applied at the Queen's Bank, Coutts & Co. in the Strand, a big impressive building, and I got an interview, 5 hours again, the same as the one for Lynn, 5-hour interview, and they wrote and said you got the job, and I was there 18 years, and it was fantastic. Some hard times, but some really funny times, and of course my first guide dog came in the last 2 years I was there, so that was really an eye-opener for everyone who worked there. Quite often I'd go through a different department, and they would say, there'd be guys at their desk and they'd be writing, and I could hear them saying, I'm sure a German Shepherd just walked past then. That can't be real. And they would say, oh, that's Stefan's guide dog. He's in tax.
Let's talk about Grant. I mean, he's very much enhancing your eyes and ears. And although you were very interesting to observe the fact that I was tapping on my desk a little earlier on when I was talking. Yeah. And I suppose you've got those extra senses, haven't you? But Grant, what does he do for you?
Grant, well, he's fantastic. He's not only my best friend now since I've lost my wife. He's my best buddy. He's my eyes. That's the main thing. and I absolutely trust him, and we go everywhere together. Even when I was on dialysis in Lincoln and London and Sussex, he came to dialysis with me, much like he would if I was at work sitting at a desk. And we go everywhere together.
Tell me about the Awareness Week for guide dogs.
It's the 80th anniversary of guide dogs this year, and in Lincoln on the 1st of October till the 9th of October, it's Guide Dog Week, and it'll just be wall-to-wall guide dogs and fundraising in the High Street on Saturday the 1st of October. So
easy date to remember.
Yeah,
1st of October.
Yeah.
Listen, we'll come along and have a look at that, and it's great to hear your story.
Thank
Stefan.
you.
I'm full of admiration for you, and I'm not saying that in a patronising way. And thanks to Steve as well, who's been snapping away on his camera in the studio. So we'll get a photograph up on the BBC Lincolnshire Facebook page as well. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks ever so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Just a quick mention, Rob, can you please say a big happy